Greetings. Welcome to Speak Nerd and Enter.
So I was talking to a friend, and Tom Bombadil came up, and I made sure that I told him how he was oldest, wisest, and best. And after that, everything was fine with the world, and we're at peace again.
Don't ever ask him to do the
That story
again.
sounds made up.
Yeah,
Welcome
I don't
to
believe it.
Mentor,
I'll take things that never happened for 100, Alex.
Hey,
Welcome
let
to
me
Speak
ask-
Nerd and
First
Enter.
of all, you started with I was talking to a friend of mine. Your only three friends are right here, and that conversation never happened.
I was talking to all of you. Tom Bombadil wiped it from your memory.
Hey, is it just me, or did the devil win that thing against Johnny in Georgia? You know, I was listening to that just today. It came on or something. I was thinking to myself, he should have lost that. Am I right? Am I right? The devil's composition was so much better than Johnny's. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, his soul's done. He should have been done. Instead, the devil's sitting there giving up gold violins. You know,
He gave him the fiddle. Yeah.
Let's
say.
And by the way, I found out because I looked it up. I was like, what is the difference between a fiddle and a violin? I looked it up. Did you know there's no difference?
No, it's how you play it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Man, Southerners can't say the word violin.
I guess that's it.
Right? So with a deep Southern accent, they just had trouble. They were like, let's call it a fiddle.
And that's the kind of crap that doesn't happen anymore under the emperor's rule. You don't see anybody in those books talking about fiddles. None.
Our Southern fan is offended.
Brought up. Yeah.
Our one Southern fan is offended at your statement, sir.
Stupid fiddles. Stupid Tom Bombadil running around with his fiddle.
It'll only be better if he had a fiddle.
Yeah. That's how I picture him, with a fiddle in the woods doing stupid things. Yeah.
All right, off of Tom Bombadil. What do you want to talk about today, guys?
Rich, I got a question for you straight up, because the other two haven't seen it yet, but I know you've seen it. What do you think of, in general terms, because I don't want you to spoil anything really, but what do you think of that documentary now? The documentary they had the new season come out.
Yes, season 4, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, season 4, but as they call it, season 53. Yeah.
Yes. But it was not what I expected. First off, I was really, whoever does their makeup, I didn't recognize.
Indeed. Yeah. That's exactly
agreed. 100%.
I cut out, didn't I?
Rich, never buy a new computer. Just keep that old hunk of junk that you're using.
See, now you know.
That old hunk of junk. It's only 2 years old. It's just, for whatever reason, it doesn't like the Streamlabs. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, Sean. So
you're wrong.
I got to give it up to the usual. I've got to give it up to the makeup department. Yeah. If those were the same actors at the end that they listed that are in the actual episodes, I didn't recognize any of them. It was amazing.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like those.
I found it to be very dry humor. It's like it hit me funny at different places, and it wasn't what I expected. It was very subtle, or what would be the right word for it? It's kind of highbrow. highbrow humor. You had to think about it. I was like, that's funny. I need to
very dry, like an overcooked.
So one of the episodes, and this doesn't spoil anything because it's in the name of the episode, but one of the episodes is about two guys throwing rocks at each other. It's hilarious.
Did we actually mention the name of this show for anybody who's listening along?
Now. Yeah, I said new season of Documentary Now.
Okay.
Documentary. We talked about that.
I wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
It's basically to fill you in. It's basically fake documentaries. Helen Mirren does the introductions on them.
Yeah.
And then it's a whole bunch of really, I guess, A-list actors just playing these really obscure parts for these fake documentaries, and they're completely unrecognizable. One of the Skarsgårds is in the first 2 episodes, and he's a ridiculous semi-Nazi actor.
Well, it's a take on what's his face from The Mandalorian in season 1, the German guy, the one who gives him the bounty for
what
is his name? Werner Herzog.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but he's the client.
I would like to see the baby guy.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
He's well known in, I guess, the film industry because he's done a lot of documentaries and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
He's kind of not weird, but he's eccentric that way. Well, one of these guys who make this show, they love those documentaries and they love making fun of them. You know, not in a hateful way, but it's kind of just a little bit of a send up, you know, and that kind of thing. It's not really over the top, but like you said, it's kind of dry. It's kind of like if you know, even if you don't know the documentary, you know what they're doing. And to me, it was really, really funny. So
it was utterly ridiculous.
Yeah,
utterly ridiculous.
And so apparently there was a documentary that this guy Werner did, or another guy did, on him doing some documentary about these people in, I think, South America or something. And it was this really weird setup, and just a lot of weird stuff happened. So this one was kind of their send up of that, where this German dude goes to some do a documentary on some small tribe in
like
some
Tibet,
mountainous
Nepal.
area of
Yeah.
a mountainous area of the Soviet Union, right? Goes there, and at the same time he's trying to film the pilot for a sitcom for CBS.
Yeah.
and so it was just really well done. That one was awesome. My favorite though was how they threw rocks.
Yes.
Which was
How they
their
threw a rock.
yeah, which was their homage to the documentary about the Rumble in the Jungle with Muhammad Ali, right? This was their homage to that, but it's about a couple of Welsh guys.
It's also an homage to the Welsh tradition of rolling cheese wheels down a hill. It's a similar sort of sport, but basically they have a rock throwing contest where they basically stand in a pit and just hurl rocks at each other until one or the other gives up.
Dude, it's so
like you do.
Dude, I don't want to tell you too much about it because I don't want to ruin it for you. But man, that was my favorite. That was my favorite. And like you said, they have a lot of A-list people in there. I don't know.
Bill Hader, right, from The Office. Is that who it was?
No. Bill Hader from
Napoleon Dynamite.
No.
Who's the actor that plays Napoleon Dynamite?
I don't remember his name. Bill Hader's
his last name is
Saturday
Hader.
Night Live, and he does.
There's a lot of impressions.
And
the Impressionist.
Man, he's been in a lot of movies, man. He was in Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He's got that show on HBO now.
Yeah, Barry.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's the one who plays Barry. Yeah. He's one of the dudes who writes it and produces it and all that. He wasn't in this season because he's doing Barry stuff, but he helped write a lot of it and produce it and all that. Seth Meyers and what is his name? Kelly from your favorite episode of Parks and Recreation. The guy who comes up from South America, who's talking about.
Oh yeah. What's
remember?
His name? Yeah, I know. I forget his name at the moment.
Yes, Fred
Armisen.
Yeah, Fred Armisen is another one of the co-creators, and he's in a lot of the episodes. He was in, the one I was talking about with the Werner Herzog guy, and
Bill Hader was in Superbad. That's what you're thinking of. Superbad.
Well, no, he was in Superbad. He was in Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He was in all kinds of them, man. He was in a lot of them. He's all over the place. He was in Bob's Burgers. He's done voices in there. All kinds of things.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
All right. But yeah, that's
sure.
But
he does the voice to the main character. I don't know.
I think you guys would really dig it. I don't know if you've ever seen those shows before, but so many of their shows from season 1 to this one have just been awesome. Just really
very much in the vein of Werner Herzog when he does his documentaries. That's what they reminded me of. The kind of gritty, on the spot documentaries where it's just all filmed. Everything goes wrong. It's all filmed terribly.
It's just so well done, man. It is, and that's the thing. It's like if you were gonna do a real send up of something, but in a respectful way, because you take the time to look at how it was done originally and do it in that same vein with a loving care, looking at it with that eye, but adding in your shots to it so that it's done in that subtle way, like you said, Rich. It's just so well done. So well done, man. Kelly, I think you'd really like it too. It's just, man, I wish you guys had seen that one.
It reminded me a lot of Philadelphia, the
Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah, reminded me a little bit of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, just because it wasn't as over the top as that show, but it was the humor just kind of crept.
No, I know what you're saying, and I agree. It's been put together with the same thoughtfulness towards what they're lampooning, and I agree with you. I agree with you on that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so if you like that show, you'd like these, but the humor just doesn't club you over the head. You gotta sit down and watch it, and that creeps up on you.
That one about the rocks definitely.
Yes, well, that one was overt.
That one was just so great. I love that one, man. I could sit there and watch that one again and again. That one is just great.
Yeah, but yes, it was a very good recommendation, Sean, and I'm glad I checked it out. So
thank you, brother. I'm glad you did too.
Yes,
hopefully Kelly and Mark will have opinions on it. I can ask them about it next time.
Someday.
Yeah. Kelly, you've been reading Warhawk. You finished that up, and you started Echoes of Eternity.
I did.
You said you had some thoughts. You rethought yourself about the Emperor and wanted
I didn't
to
rethink.
give him
No. See, don't put words in
My
my mouth.
opinion has been reinforced.
No, it's animated he gets with it. No.
Number one, Echoes of Eternity. Echoes of Eternity. I'm going to say that the beginning of the book is not what I expected initially, right? And I was a little taken aback by that, but I enjoy the direction that it went. Right. I think having a holistic view of the experiences of others within I think it's easy to look at the 40K universe and just stick with humanity and just say, okay, well, here's what the Emperor did today. And I like having a view from the other side of it. And I think they at least it started out that way. I came into it expecting lots and lots. Like I felt like it would just start with Sanguinius, and immediately I started to have thoughts about Sanguinius. Like Sanguinius is the guy, in my opinion, who he's
having to go after Sanguinius now.
I am. He's the guy, in my opinion. Like in his quarters, he's going to have like all those still lifes with like rotting fruit. He's the guy that would come into a discussion.
Yeah, there's Space Marine fans raging across the galaxy right now.
Yeah, screw you.
Talking about
Sanguinius
in a hurtful manner.
Photoshop Kelly's face onto Horus as he's throttling the life out of Sanguinius.
Big giant.
I feel that Sanguinius is that guy who joins a conversation and brings everybody down. Like everybody's standing around having a good time joking. Sanguinius is going to come in and say something, and suddenly everybody's depressed, like they've been listening to Enya for the last 20 minutes. But the book didn't go in that direction. The book went in a different direction, and I appreciated that. I'm just getting into Sanguinius parts of it, and I'm like, all right, well, let's see what happens next. But when I finished Warhawk, one thing stuck out to me. Amidst the typical, thing that I've already laid at the feet of the Emperor as an indictment is hubris. I also now want to lay at his feet an indictment of sloppiness. Not only was it hubris to think that he could change what was going to happen, right? But it was also slightly like, as we go through the story and you listen to John Grammaticus and all the other folks that were involved in his little scheme, you're like, damn, he was so sloppy. I mean, he invited everybody in who would play a critical role in screwing it up. And then he thought he could just hold it all together. And that's, I don't know. I'm left with more and more of it just thinking that, the Emperor was the problem. I mean, I really think maybe Horus is onto something. He's a false emperor, and Horus is going to correct things.
Yeah, and how much blasphemy can we put into one podcast? Hurry!
I mean, yeah, but Horus is utterly insane. I mean, you understand that, right?
Is he insane, or does he just see it properly?
No, he doesn't see anything. He's the puppet. He doesn't see anything. He's seeing illusions and delusions.
But in all seriousness, all I'm left with is looking at how the Emperor's plan was thwarted at every point. Like everybody he had involved from the word go has somehow now turned on him. And it leaves me to question a little bit.
Everybody?
How is the man making his decisions?
Everybody?
Not everybody.
Pretty much. Erda,
pretty much.
Erda was not in on it. John Grammaticus wants to stop it and is going through, hell and high water to do it. Huh?
Erda was the first one to screw up his plans.
Everybody screwed it up. Whatever his plan was went off the rails with his first hire.
Without Erda, everything probably would have worked out just fine. Erda,
if it weren't for Erda and the forces of chaos and everything else that happened in between, if it weren't for the Emperor having some goofball idea that he would create a series of superhumans that would somehow manage to save the universe through warfare, I'm sorry, I'm out on the man. What I find fascinating though, is that humanity has managed to limp along since. Here's the Emperor now relegated to the Golden Throne. He's now turned into a religion that he never wanted to be in the first place. And humanity, seems to just sort of limp along as it is. I don't know.
That's the doing of the High Council. That's their doing.
Well, as we've seen in other books, that High Council is not a group of people who are really on the same page. They're all kind of doing their own thing and hoping to hell it doesn't ruin the entire universe. But
they're completely off the plot.
Well, yeah, exactly. They didn't read all the books. They don't know what the game plan was.
So currently, your opinion is mankind was doing just fine until the Emperor came along and
screwed it all up.
Not necessarily.
However, they are heroically limping along, regardless of his massive failure.
Who knows where we might be not
used.
For his intervention.
You just said they were limping along. You were
they are limping along. I'm not saying they're limping along well, and I'm saying that I'm surprised that they still are. But I will say this. I mean, a lot of it supports my original idea. Chaos didn't need to win. It didn't matter to them if Horus wins and beats the Emperor. It never mattered. Chaos just simply needed humanity to consume itself, which it did. Because of Horus's actions, because of the Emperor's actions, most of humanity now has been burned to hell because of Horus, killing worlds and planets, the Emperor doing the same, and now all of them doing that together. I mean, I imagine somebody like Korn, he's sitting fat, dumb, and happy on a pile of skulls and enjoying life right now. But that's all chaos needed to have happen, and that's what's happened.
You understand that it was the psychic emergence of humanity. Humanity was becoming more and more psychic, not due to, well, as far as we know, not due to the Emperor's intervention. The psychic emergence was happening naturally amongst the human race, and that it was going to end up being a problem unless something was done to manage it. And that was what the Emperor was doing, is he was managing the psychic might of an entire race of creatures, because he knew if they didn't, then they would go out of control, and it speed up what chaos is doing now would be 10 times worse. It would have been done already. The human race would have been extinct.
I hear what you're saying, Rich, and all I'm going to say is that out of all the books that I've read, it seems like that really didn't change all that much. It's still out of control. The old man ends up on a golden throne, and his plans have been ruined. Chaos still triumphed in the end because it never tried to win.
Eating a pace.
Say what?
Did he plan for this contingency?
Well said, Rich.
I don't. The thing is I don't think the Emperor, because one thing is I don't think the Emperor, because he's not omniscient. He's not. He's not seeing everything through to the end of time. You can, whatever you want. He's not. If he did, then he's no better or worse than the forces of chaos themselves.
Someone wants to have a chat with you, Kelly. Hold on, they're right here. I'm going to show you their literature. They want to have a little chat with you. So they'll be visiting you very soon.
They can feel free, and I will show them how wrong they are.
What I'm shocked at, Kelly, I'm not shocked actually that you've come to that decision. I'm not. That's actually kind of where I figured you would come down, is on that side. However, the thing that I am shocked at is that you're giving a free pass to the old ones, the true enemy, the ones whose plans actually were at the very base of all of it, from the Eldar to the Orcs to the humans to the Emperor to everything.
Yeah, but nobody wrote an 8-book series on the old ones yet for me to go and criticize. So, write that. Let me criticize them.
Right.
But
Give it time.
I do want to say this. Look, as far as the story goes, now that's all my criticism about the Emperor and sort of the arc of the overall thing for the Imperium. But as far as storytelling in the book, I have to say Warhawk was phenomenal. I liked it start to finish. The arc with Jagatai Khan and the White Scars.
See, I wanted to ask you, what'd you think about Jagatai as a character and all of that?
I think Jagatai's awesome. I think he's really,
he's one of my favorites.
He's a guy of action, which I respect, right? He doesn't want to sit around. He wants to get out there and get in the crap and get something done. And he has a particular plan and a motivation and drive to do it. And his face-off with Mortarion, phenomenal. That whole back and forth between those two was great, and how it ended, fantastic. The bit with Sigismund, the whole story arc with Sigismund, and
my boy,
Ron,
yes,
fantastic. Loved it. I have problems with it from a psychological level when you look at sort of the interaction between Rogel Dorn and Sigismund and that kind of thing. You're like, but you get where it goes, and I appreciate.
Don't gloss over that. What about that did you? Because that's of great interest to me. What about that did you not think was?
It gets into some personal issues for me, if I'm honest, Rich. And all I'll say is this: is that the things with Rogel Dorn where he's really bloody hard on Sigismund, right? And you're no son of mine, I think was what he said to him at one point. And, he really came down hard on Sigismund with this idea that I'm going to drive him to become this warrior thing that I need him to be. And, I've experienced some of that crap in my life, not like somebody like Rogel Dorn, but somebody who's in an authority figure that you respect or should respect and have their mutual respect in return. And I have to say that stuff rarely, if ever, turns out in some sort of positive direction as to what somebody's going to do in their life.
I don't agree. I don't think that he was driving him to be anything. I think he was I think Rogel Dorn legitimately felt betrayed by Sigismund's actions because Sigismund chose to come back, and what happened was it on Calth? I forget which planet. Got hammered because he was supposed to be there. It turned out that he had a greater destiny, or he does have a greater destiny. But yeah, that's better with your camera, Kelly. You just it got a lot clearer.
Okay.
But I think how Rogel Dorn treats Sigismund is not. I think Rogel Dorn truly was disappointed in Sigismund's behavior because of what he did, and it wasn't that he didn't go and go get yourself killed, boy. That's what you were made for. It wasn't so much that. It was that he was dishonest about his reasons for why he did what he did. Now, had he not done that, there would have been a much greater, probably a much worse outcome than what did happen or what does happen. I don't want to delve too deeply into it because I'm not sure what part of the books they tell the rest of the story, because there's Sigismund ends up playing a very important part. Did you have him interact with Karn on the battlefield yet, or no?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think that's the thing is where isn't that the fight in Warhawk that he has?
Yeah. Okay. That's what I wanted to make sure it was in that section. I didn't want to skip ahead, but I mean that was, to me, I mean,
the aftermath of that is what is explored in Echoes of Eternity.
Yeah. That's right. Yes. Okay. So yeah, I need to. It's been a while since I read Echoes of Eternity. So there's like 2,000 pages in between that and where we are now. But what goes on with Sigismund versus Karn. It's just a really interesting, the whole story behind, like, they were brothers, and Sigismund is one of the greatest fighters in the Imperium, bar none. Like, he walks up to Fulgrim and gives Fulgrim a hit, which should be impossible. A line captain should not be able to walk up and strike a demon Primarch. Do
you picture Fulgrim looking like some frilly like a dandy from England?
With one of those little frilly collar things, man. Yeah, 100%.
And a big wig.
I think he looks very Baroque, very. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I think he looks very Baroque, like a very John Blanche-esque type of image. Congratulations, John Blanche, for retiring after 38 years. He just retired last week, so congratulations.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, he just retired. Longest serving, as far as I know, person ever. 38 years.
No more mustard and ketchup in the whole headquarters.
No, well, he's still going to do art, but I mean, he's got some health problem. But he's no longer the art.
Red and yellow go.
But
So, but as far as Fulgrim goes, I think when they finally do produce the miniature for Fulgrim, the one that's locked in, it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But as far as what you were saying, Kelly, I'm of two minds with Rogal Dorn, especially from what you're going to find out in the next book, the final book that we have so far with Rogal Dorn. Rogal Dorn's got a lot going on that. I
will admit that's sort of a a barrier to some of my criticisms and things here, is that I don't know a lot of these characters as in depth as read. I mean, I'm getting exposed to a lot of this story through reading, right? I mean, I knew the Horus Heresy, and I knew sort of the general scope of the Horus Heresy from when it came out. But digging in and reading the books and seeing, okay, well, this is Rogal Dorn's sort of personality and things, and you're trying to pick apart sort of the interactions between some of these Primarchs and their legions, and all of these things. And I do see, like, just that there's that conflict, and I saw that it bugged the hell out of Sigismund, is that how dare you say that to me? And at the same time, you're telling me that I'm a traitor and I'm a screw up. But I mean, everything you've built is now falling down around you, and you can see even that taking its toll on Rogal Dorn. It's a physical toll. You don't even have to have the fight; just this physical toll of losing this fight. And I do appreciate a lot of that in the books, but there was a bit of the Sigismund thing where I was like, screw you, Rogal. But
no, I agree. I mean, it's easy to feel that. What were you going to say, Sean, about Sigismund?
Well, I was just going to say as well, don't forget that Rogal Dorn feels betrayed in a way, not just because of his actions, but also his beliefs. Because Sigismund, is now one of the faithful. And that, that really bugs Rogal. Because his son, especially Sigismund, is supposed to be a reflection of him. And if his son can fall to something like, or he sees it as falling to something like that, then what does that say about him and that kind of thing?
Following Euphrates Keeler, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the religion of the emperor. Yeah.
Right. And there's very few things that would bug him more than that. It's like raising your son in a certain religious aspect, and then suddenly they decide they want to go, I don't know, be whatever they want to be. And it's something that you vehemently are against, and you've always told them, no, don't do this, and then they go and do it, So there's a lot of different things that are bugging him about it. And so I really enjoyed how they explored that as well, because it would have been really easy to make Rogal Dorn very one-dimensional.
Right.
Yes.
And instead they haven't. That character has become much more layered than they otherwise would have been. And I appreciate that they're doing that.
And I appreciate that they do that across the board, because it's easy to sit back and say, oh, well, the Primarch's just a big tough guy. They should just come in and beat the crap out of everybody. And when you read the books, it's so not that way. Yeah. These guys are struggling through things just like anybody else struggles through things.
Right. They could have made them like the Chaos Gods, where they just,
they just are.
They epitomized a certain aspect, and that's it, and that's all they were, and that's their portfolio and nothing else. but they gave them nuance, and I really like that. I really like how they're exploring that part.
I think that's. Go ahead, Rich.
Well, I say Rogel Dorn is the weird thing about Rogel Dorn is they explain that he's at war with himself because he was built to be the ultimate defender, the ultimate siege maker, right? The guy that stood by, who made the strongest walls, that made the best defenses, that had every plan. Not really, though. No, you could say that, but his plans are plans within plans within plans. Everything's a contingency, right? Because it's very much. What's so funny?
No, you said, well, yeah, you can say that, and you just very quietly said, I did. Sorry, go ahead.
It's always the little things, but
Exactly.
Indeed.
Am I back?
Well done.
There we go.
Now I hadn't heard it put like that before. That's impressive.
Am I back yet or not?
Yes, you are.
Okay, good. So he was always pitted as the opposite of Perturabo, right? So Perturabo is the ultimate, wall breaker, and he's the ultimate wall maker, right?
Sure.
So it could very easily have just been, well, he's just king of defense, right? But they explain very well, I thought, like Sean mentioned, that he wants to go out and fight. Like his first successor chapter, Sigismund's successor chapter, or one of his first successor chapter, is the Black Templars, the fightiest Space Marines. They actually go out and are religious.
Fightiest? I don't know about that. Fightiest.
And most
that sounds awfully orcish.
Yeah.
Or the fightiest, dackiest.
They do have red crosses.
Our chapter has so much DACA.
they have red crosses. Well, that's why they fought. That's why they Gazgul loves Helbrecht, because they went at it on Armageddon. But in any case, he's at war with himself because he wants to go out and do what Space Marines do. Space Marines are built for battle, but his whole purpose is to stand behind the walls and make sure they don't fall. So he's kind of struggling with that, and they didn't have to, they wrote it well enough that you actually got that sense, like you're saying, you got that sense of he's got dilemmas going on. He's a Primarch. He shouldn't have the same failings, but he's still just as human as all the other characters, just on a bigger scale, right?
I'll tell you this: they've done a really good job at writing for the Traitor Primarchs in making, I feel, disgusted by their immaturity in so many ways. And you look at that and you think of like you were talking about with Perturabo as an example. Him and Rogel Dorn are so much the same being, but reacting in a very opposing directions. Like they started in the same spot and they decided going off this way, right? And he is the mirror image of Rogel Dorn to the point of you look at him and you're like, man, what a petulant child, just
you would have won.
Just cannot get over his insecurities,
they're all like that.
That's right. They're all like Mortarians in the same way, and that's why I love the juxtaposition of Jagatai with Mortarion. The only one that I feel was done differently was Magnus, and for good reason. Magnus was a more tragic character, I think, than the other ones. Really,
he played such an integral part in the development of the story.
Innocent man persecuted.
Well, I don't know about innocent, but there was a part in one
Magnus did nothing wrong.
There was a part in one of the books where there was a part in the books where Malkador says, I can't remember which book it was, where Malkador says he never would have fallen. That he never would have turned if it hadn't been for the masterstroke of Horus sending the wolves to go after him and all of that. Magnus, as far as he had gone and done all those things and what he had done wrong, he never would have fallen, and the Emperor would have been able to. But then
he made his deal. He made his deal long ago.
Well, he did. He made the first deal when he gave his eye and all that crap to try to, But the idea I think I got from Malkador with that was that the Emperor knows that. He knows that part. He knows what's going on, and he would have been able to guide him through the mistake. He wasn't lost. With all the stuff he had done, the Emperor at any point could have just erased him, right? You know, when they had the thing about the librarians and all of that, as powerful as Magnus is, suddenly, boom, he can't move. He's just locked in place. The Emperor's telling him, look, man, you don't know what you're doing. You got to back off. Stop it. And please just trust me, back off. And we'll talk about this later. And, you know, there's just such power there. It was never a question that he was going to get out of hand. He would have been able to guide him through. But the masterstroke for Horus was to recognize that linchpin and send his boys to, you know, or the wolves to go and set it in motion the other way, because Russ was so eager to prove himself, you know. And it's just so well done. Such a tragedy that way. And I really like
saw the cracks in both their personalities, which was why he was who he was.
Yeah. I think one of the genius parts of it is the construct of the chaos side of it. You know, and I take this from the bit in Warhawk with the Remnant, who's going back over the history of this whole thing. And I forget who he was talking to, but this Remnant is replaying these bits and seeing this, you know, just as these Chaos Marines are now slowly losing their touch with humanity. They're ceasing to be who they were. You know, the last vestiges of that are beginning to wash away. You see it come and then just disappear again. I think it was a master stroke. If I look at this just from a story perspective and say, Chaos created an army that would consume itself in large measure. Like this massive army, this great force that most of the galaxy would just quake with fear at having to face. Chaos created sort of obsolescence within it, you know, and these folks didn't see at the very beginning when they started down this path. Some of them just started down the path because I'm a sheep. I'm following this guy. This guy's in charge, and this is what I'm going to do. And then they're beginning to see what they've wrought, and at the same time unable to stop what they've wrought, you know, and they're beginning to reap the rewards of what that is. And that's played out throughout all the books. It's, you know, mutations come into play, and you know, people who are following Nurgle start to decay away and they become just shells of what they were. I think there's certain elements of that which are just absolutely fantastic from a story standpoint.
All of it stolen from Dune, by the way.
Oh yeah,
that's what I hear.
Yeah, I just kept thinking that's what it was like on the Spice Planet. But
that's right.
There it is. There it is. There's that elitism, that Dune fan elitism.
Right.
No, but I think overall
Earth is reminiscent of Arrakis, just so that you know.
I just want to say that. I mean, I think the stories overall are brilliant, and my criticisms of the Emperor could all just be nothing more than how they've written for the Emperor and how it's there to be interpreted right now. We'll see what happens. But I do think there's elements of his plan that are just deeply flawed. And in my mind, he'll always be, you know.
See, as the heresy goes up, more of it shows. And then as he says, well, it could be that he's just, you know, and then it goes down a little bit.
It's, no. I mean, it's what it is.
Oddly enough, that gesture has lost its meaning by the 41st millennium. So
it has, yeah.
That doesn't do anything.
That's just how people wave at each other. Morning, Frank.
Is that Rick and Morty?
I very much
the House Warlock sign, or
how you can come to that conclusion, Kelly. But as you know, Sean and I have gone on it with length because I was originally much more on your side of the equation, but
before Sean corrupted you.
Yeah. Before he corrected me, you had it right the
corrupted.
First time. But no,
see, that Freudian slip shows exactly how Kelly really thinks. He's fighting. He's fighting because he wants.
I have to say that
there's still good in you. I can feel it.
Come back to the light side, Kelly. I very much have a much more sympathetic. I have a more sympathetic view of the Emperor. At first, I didn't have much sympathy for him because of a lot of the reasons you're mentioning. You know, that he was short-sighted and he had a lot of hubris and all the things that you were talking about. But as I learn more and more about actually what he was trying to accomplish, but the challenges that he was trying to, being all alone in an entire galaxy of threats, and he has no one to turn to. The closest he has is Malkador, but even Malkador is just like a candle next to the searchlight, when it comes to the Emperor.
He could have turned to so much more if he had just opened up to others about his plans.
If he had just gone to chaos and, taken Khorne into his confidence.
That's right.
Just pat him on the bum
Siege
and
is
send him
always
on his
there
way.
to listen.
Father Nurgle always has a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay, look. The guy couldn't open up and he could turn to nobody, but he brought in all these perpetuals who all at one time or another have abandoned him. So who's wrong? The one guy who stayed or everybody else that walked away?
Everybody else.
Everybody else.
I'm surprised you even asked that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
None of them. Well, the truth of the matter is, though, Olaneus is older. I think he's older than the Emperor, right? Like Olaneus is the oldest perpetual that we know. So Ollie Person, even he, who should know better, he just didn't. None of them they couldn't trust that he had they always doubted what he was doing.
In all fairness, All doesn't know. He has and he's confessed that a number of times. Yeah. But, there's still another book for you to go. Once you're done with Echoes of Eternity. I really like that book, by the way. Echoes of Eternity, I thought was really well done. I love Bowden and how he writes. I love how he takes those characters and goes into their histories and, that sort of thing to give them more weight as a character. It gives you information about them in their past that you didn't have before, maybe, and things like that. I really like how he does that.
The introduction of that book has the most metal thing in the history of Games Workshop, where the Scout Titan pulls down the Reaver Titan. That is the most amazing thing. Where they're going up the hill.
Yeah, that definitely. You know who I think of when I think of that? I think of Mark. Mark would do that. Mark would definitely.
I gotta get to the top.
Robbie would have been the other one, and Mark would have shot him in the back and pulled him over so he could
use him to lever up over his falling corpse. And screaming all the way to the bottom, "You son of a bitch!"
Sweet Robbie would have been fine with it. He would have. It's funny. Yes, he would have been just fine with it. Sweet Robbie.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Sean, but I wanted to bring that up because it was so good.
No, that book was really well done. And when you think of it in series with Warhawk, then Echoes of Eternity, and then The End and the Death. As I think really, really amazing in how each of them is written so differently. But for me, landed very well.
Yeah, I mean, there's only been really the one book out of the series that didn't land well. And it's not even the first. The first one is guilty of overuse of metaphor. But that second one, I think it's the second one, where we're following that guard unit from the Adaba hive forever.
Forever. I didn't care about the one with the train. I was
train. Like I had to read it twice to figure out like which way they were.
I actually enjoyed that section quite a bit. I thoroughly enjoyed that little storyline.
Me too. Yeah, I was fooled. I didn't expect that. I was like,
that? A lot.
I did enjoy it.
Interesting. You enjoyed the part about the traitor guard.
I was so bored that by the end I actually missed the twist.
See, thank you, Kelly.
See, that's what sells it, though.
That's how I was. Yes. Kelly, by the end of that story, that was the only thing I had to listen to again was, whose did they put up? Oh, okay, they're traitors. All right, I don't care.
Yeah, I was confused. I had to listen to it and read it to figure it out. I'm like, oh, okay.
No, I went on for 2 more books. I went on for 2 more books and thought to myself, what the hell ever happened to them? And had to go back and listen to the end of the book again and think, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, well, they got the Emperor's Peace because they bombed that entire hive to dust.
Yeah, the whole storyline with her and falling in love, and the hive having that history and all that stuff.
And her
I wish I could delete that information to free up space now because I feel very upset that it's there.
Well, see, now that's how I feel about Euphrates Keeler. I want to forget everything about Euphrates Keeler. every time they turn to her, I just think to myself, I've had enough.
Yeah.
Stop.
No, the Inquisition doesn't like Euphrates Keeler either. They don't like her either. So
no, the Inquisition loves Euphrates Keeler. What are you talking about? That was the basis for the Holy Inquisition.
No, I understand that, but
then you understand the truth of what I just said, and you'll shut your filthy mouth.
Language.
Now, see, that's what I'm saying, man. But then again, I was never a supporter of the Imperium. You guys can put up the Inquisition symbol all you want, but I never was a supporter, and a lot of this just reinforces that for me. Is that I just don't.
So you think humanity would have been
the Imperium?
You think humanity would have been better off without the Emperor ever coming to power?
I think it would end up at the same place.
By the way, is not the Emperor.
No, it isn't.
Okay, well, I don't like the Emperor or his Imperium.
It's the High Lords. I just said the Imperium is the High Lords.
Yeah. I don't like any of the three of them. Then the whole godhead of what's going on there with the humans.
Well, the High Lords of Terra, I mean, they're as human could be, right? Because they're all caught up in their petty intrigues, trying to gain dominance over something where the Emperor wants to lead humanity to a brighter future. The High Lords of Terror just want to,
just like Satan wanted to come down and save all of humanity and return all the souls to heaven.
The only mistake the Emperor made was not in finding Zar-Hilash or making a deal with the Void Dragon. Should have done that.
True.
Should have done that. Should have looked at it.
Well, the old one.
No, the Necrons are the only ones who actually avoided that whole chaos thing.
Yeah, we should join up with
the Catan. We'll join with them.
Since he was made by the old ones, he probably has a bit of intrinsic bias. So
that's
since they're arch enemies.
That's not his fault. He is his parents' child.
It's true. So. It's true. He's a weapon without a sheath.
He is,
as they say.
Without a sheath, as they say. That's true. Who said that?
They said
that. Zar-Hilash.
So how much longer until he gets off the Golden Throne? Because I'm getting a little impatient with the series at this point.
Well, that's the new 40K people are talking about, right? 10th edition.
You talking about he's talking about in the Horus Heresy series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
like I know we're getting close.
You'll see
the end and the death.
Yeah, you'll see.
Okay.
The end and the death is where that happens.
Hopefully he gets up off that throne and apologizes and then says he's going to go clean it all up.
The one you're
reading sorry, guys.
The other guy you hate, Sanguinius.
Yes.
I don't hate Sanguinius. I just find him very sort of.
I don't like him. I hope he dies.
He's melancholy, right? I mean, he's just one of those guys.
I
don't know why he's melancholy.
No, but just it's not like he's walking and cracking jokes and lifting everybody's spirits or anything.
But he
flying
was
around,
never like that.
Yeah,
having his little moments.
I wonder why he's like that.
Thinking about the fate of it all.
What could be ruining his mood?
I wonder.
I don't know. Maybe continuing to be a Primarch.
Complete
Maybe fighting for the hubris of an emperor who never cared.
Croaks. I mean, and that there's nothing he can do to.
Kelly would be the
why so bummed out?
Blood angel.
Snyder, why are you so bummed out?
In the break room, he's the only one talking trash about Sanguinius. Why is he always down? What's up with
that? You got nothing to be sad about.
The funniest part of that is that there's a break room. That's the funniest part.
The Astartes break room.
They actually. No, this is no lying. They actually talk about the Astartes break room in the Indominus series. They all meet up they're like checking their weapons and loading ammo and stuff, and it's where they eat their dinners and stuff. It's the Astartes break room.
Yeah, where they have all the cupboard with all the coffee cups in it. And all that. Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody didn't make a fresh pot.
That's right. Yeah. The microwave smells like fish.
Again. Yeah. Damn it, Sanguinius.
Oh well.
But
I'll be interested.
But I do want to dig into the Dark Angels because I feel like there's a lot there too. But
the Dark Angels, the Dark Angels, I didn't get into until the Lion came back, and he was different. Up until then, I don't know. It just felt like, okay, guys, yeah, you're just trying to be secret and cool and intrigue for intrigue's sake, and I don't care. Keep your secrets.
In the Heresy, he's like, "I'm coming. We're always coming. We're on the way."
With them, it's always, I can't tell you. It's a secret. That just gets old, you know. All right, man.
But that's the way of the Imperium as a whole, Sean. I mean,
they took it to the 10th degree. They took it to 11. I mean, they did. They went Spinal Tap with it.
They explained it in Warhawk, I believe, with the custodians who live. Everything starts from the disposition of being a secret. You know, the holders of many secrets. They don't even discuss with themselves. That's why they're friends with the Emperor, because they don't know how to open up and actually express themselves.
They're not
friends. You've got it. You got it backwards. This is where Horus would have you, Kelly, and I won't let that happen because I want you to know the reason they are secretive is because they are the only ones who have the truth.
But how do they even know? They never open up to discuss it.
Can't tell you.
See?
It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle.
That's right. You just have to have faith.
I figure I'm about 2 books from the Imperium crashing in amongst itself like a dying star.
Well,
you know that
realistically, that's
goes on
because that's how you know it happens.
Yeah.
They told you, and there's only 2 more books left after the one you're in. So,
what's going to be very interesting is they're going to actually go into something that's only been like the whole series of events leading up to the end and the death. That's never really been detailed, so it's going to be very interesting to see like the who's and wherefores of actually what happened. And I think they'll probably throw some twists and turns where, oh, we thought it was like this, but actually it was like this. I think it's going to be really interesting.
Hey, are you guys going to go see, because I know we're coming up against the end here, are you guys going to go see the new Spider-Man Across the Multiverse thing, or Across the Spider-Verse? Are you?
Yep.
No. Yeah, I think I'm going to see that on Monday. So
I'll see it eventually.
I'm intrigued with that one. I've heard a lot of good things about it. You know, you never know how it's going to go with something like that.
Yeah, I really liked the first one. The style of it was it felt like a comic book.
Yeah.
In animated form. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it wasn't realistic at all as far as like the proportions of a lot of the people, whatever. But like I really enjoyed the style of
and
the
great performances too.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this one. We'll see. And I was always a fan of Spider-Man 2099 anyway. So
the folks
and Kelly and I can agree. There's no one in it. There's no Emperor. There's no Horus. So we have nothing to fight about in that. We can both be on the same side.
We'll see.
What are you talking about? Dr. Octavius. Dr. Octavius should win.
The folks I've heard talk about it say that it's entertaining. That's where I'll leave it. That it's an entertaining movie, which is always a good sign, right?
I don't
know.
That's kind of the point. You know.
Yeah, but a lot of movies.
If I want to watch an unentertaining movie, I'll watch a documentary.
Only if it's documentary now, which is
that's right. Which is entertaining. That's right. Yes, you got to watch that, Mark. Please watch that. Kelly, you got to watch that. Please.
They're only 23 minutes long.
They're
each episode is short.
All right. You said it's on Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
I'll watch it as soon as I'm done with Hell's Kitchen.
Okay.
The season's almost over.
Yeah. Let me just finish the 35 seasons of The Simpsons real quick, and then I'm going to jump right on that.
Yeah.
Well, did any of you guys see the second Shazam movie?
No.
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, I've got it on Blu-ray, so I'm gonna check it out. So I'll see.
All right, no spoilers then. We'll talk about it maybe next time.
Yeah, it sucked.
I said no spoilers.
That's what I hear. So I'm gonna find out for myself though. But people said Black Adam wasn't very good, and I really enjoyed Black Adam.
Yeah, but you also like Tom Bombadil, so
I do.
Yeah. See?
I do.
Yeah, and if you like something as lame as Tom Bombadil, you'll probably love.
Well, I like all of you guys, so it's like accounting for taste is notwithstanding, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's got Helen Mirren, so
I think we can successfully predetermine how everybody's going to judge things going forward. Mark just finds everything entertaining.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for that. Finally, someone who can actually validate what Mark considers a ridiculous and unsubstantiated opinion on my part. Thank you, Kel. Now it's undeniable.
You're welcome. Rich does have an opinion, but generally finds things interesting. I will overthink it and start picking apart things that actually nobody cares about. And I don't know where Sean lands. I don't want to give him the whole.
What do you mean
Sean,
you don't know where I land? Come on.
I don't know where you land.
Aliens 2.
See, but you're wrong about that one.
Sucks.
Yeah, you're so wrong about that.
Terminator 2. No. Sucks.
Terminator 2 was awesome.
No, look at it now.
I have. It was awesome.
Awful.
His escape from the mall was great.
I know. And that little motorbike. Wee.
Right.
Buckaroo Banzai.
Right. Edward Furlong.
Awesome.
Buckaroo Banzai, I actually still like. I haven't seen it in ages, though, so I don't know if it
John
ages
Lithgow. Amazing, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Big Booty.
Little China. Amazing.
Big Trouble in Little China is top 3 movies of all time.
See, Kelly? We're not as far apart as you think.
No.
Not as far apart as you think. Just come to the Emperor, and you'll be all right.
Nope.
All right.
See, once it's all wiped clean and I can sit down, I will be vindicated because the Catan and the old ones will say, yeah, the Emperor was a mistake.
Now,
shouldn't have
wiping it clean, should that be done crinkled or folded?
Just wipe it clean. It doesn't matter.
That's the.
I think there should be a
crinkle or folded.
galactic bidet. Just...
There. See, that's
not the Clorox.
That's the option I'm looking for. Sheryl Crow didn't think about that. There you go.
Yeah.
So, and on that note, thank you, gentlemen, and I will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. That's weird.
This concludes our Speak Nerd and Enter broadcast.